no lo presiente. Todo lo que cambia lo hará diferente en el año que nació la serpiente.
Safety starts with me.
Safety starts with me.
Safety starts with me.
Safety starts with
Safety
me.
starts with me.
Safety starts with me.
Safety starts with me.
Okay. Who do I make it out to?
Me.
Oh, okay. You'll find we added some humor to the safety video to hopefully make it engaging and interesting, but please be assured that at STARS, we take safety very seriously, so please pay attention. And there you go.
Thanks. Thank you.
You're welcome.
There are several hazards near a running helicopter, but these hazards only become dangerous to those who are unaware or those who are stupid. The most critical hazard is the tail rotor. The tail rotor can be invisible at its high rotational speed, and walking into it can cause one's head to separate from one's shoulders, resulting in one being less alive than previously. Nobody, not even crew members, are to go aft of the horizontal stabilizers. The main rotor creates a hazard mainly at the blade tips. Intentionally or unintentionally, the spinning rotor blades can tip down as low as an average person is tall, or walking on uneven ground up to the spinning blades can cause contact. In either case, a violent separation of head from shoulders may result. Hot engine exhaust. Called toasty warm on a Canadian winter's day, this jet engine exhaust can be dangerously hot, especially near the exhaust outlets. This is why only necessary personnel are allowed aft of the engines during loading and unloading. Rotor wash, or the high winds created by the main rotor, can blow dust, sand, grass, leaves, and small mammals into one's face and eyes. Please wear eye protection or keep your visors down near a running helicopter. Noise. Noises are created by the main rotor, the tail rotor, and particularly by the screaming turbine engines. Loss of hearing is too common in the helicopter industry. Wear ear protection at all times.
Now that you are familiar with the hazards of a running helicopter, you are aware that the area around a helicopter can be divided into two areas. The front half of the helicopter can be considered safe, and the rear of the helicopter should be considered as dangerous. Remember, when moving around a running helicopter, the hazards are the main rotor, the tail rotor, and the engine exhaust. However, if you avoid the rear half of the aircraft, you discount both the tail rotor hazard and the exhaust hazard. You should approach from the front of any running helicopter. This allows you to make eye contact with the pilot. Before approaching, make sure you receive a thumbs up from the pilot or a head nod indicating that it's safe for you to approach the helicopter. The safest direction to approach from is the 10 o'clock or the 2 o'clock position. This allows you eye contact with the pilot, but you can also safely approach from the 9 o'clock and the 3 o'clock position as well. The rotor tip path can change height. It can be higher or lower to the ground. So when approaching the helicopter, passing under the rotor tip path is the most dangerous point entering the aircraft. You may duck when passing through this area, but as you can see, it's safe to stand upright beside the helicopter. If because of terrain and the way the helicopter landed, you are behind the helicopter and need to approach the helicopter, the safest route is to go around the helicopter and then approach from the front once you receive a thumbs up or a head nod from the pilot. Do not approach directly from the rear of the helicopter. This is extremely dangerous. Please keep these rules in mind when approaching a running STARS helicopter. Crew members and passengers must be dressed appropriately for the time of year, the season, and also for the possibility of spending the night out. Kirk, one of our pilots here, is dressed wearing a reflective jacket, high visibility for on the scene. He's wearing the flight suit. He's wearing a long sleeve t-shirt and long johns for double layer protection underneath his flight suit. He's wearing gloves. Kirk's not even dressed appropriately for being in the hangar. All employees should be wearing closed-toe shoes to be on the hangar floor. And for flying operations, you should be wearing a nice sturdy boot with good ankle support for either walking around outside in the bush or egressing the aircraft. We can't actually take you flying unless you are dressed appropriately for the conditions.
This aircraft has a total of 5 doors. 2 of the cockpit doors, 2 sliding cabin doors, and at the rear, the clamshell doors. The pilot doors and the sliding cabin doors are also considered emergency exits. Note the yellow highlight for the emergency release mechanisms. For normal procedures, the simplest way is to grasp the handle just with 2 fingers, lightly pull it back. The door slides back quite easily. Closer is the reverse. Again, 2 fingers with light pressure. Bring the door forward. You'll feel it snap into position, and it's done. Using your full hand on the handle interrupts the locking mechanism. So the best way is to simply use 2 fingers to close the door. When the door is latched securely, the green locking pin is above the red line. The inside of the sliding cabin door operates the same as the outside. It is, however, more awkward because of the tight seat position. Again, to open, 2 fingers, reach behind to your hips, find the handle, and pull it open. To close, again 2 fingers at the handle, 1 smooth motion, and it locks in position. The sliding cabin door emergency release is of course used for an emergency only. Pulling the toggle inside here actually jettisons the whole door. To operate the emergency release from the inside, the door jettison handle is atop the window. There's a rough Velcro patch to help you feel the locking mechanism. Pushing that releases the handle out. Grasp the handle, pull, and push the door.
Before we depart, all the aircraft doors must be closed and secured. Sometimes, after we start, a door light might illuminate in the cockpit. This means one of the doors is not properly closed. Often, without unstrapping, the pilots will reach back to your door handle and slide open your door. They will then reclose the door properly to extinguish the caution light.
Oh, okay.
To avoid crushing the pilot's hands, please do not attempt to assist the pilots while they operate your door.
Here he is, your host, your pilot of prevention, your salesman of safety, Jed McCallum.
Thanks. Hey, how's it going? Thank you. Thanks. Thanks.
Hi, John.
Hi, Jay.
So, do you want to hear about our seatbelt system?
I sure do.
How about you, studio audience? Yeah, that's right. So, John, how many different types of seatbelts do you think we have in our helicopter?
Oh, I don't know, Jay. Probably 1 type of seatbelt?
John, what if I told you you may have 2 different types of seatbelts in the aircraft? Wouldn't that be exciting?
Wow.
Hey, audience? Yes, John, we have 2 different types of seatbelts. On all of our aircraft, we have a blue round buckle type seatbelt in all of the seats. But on some of our aircraft, the bench seats, numbers 3 and 4, have the standard airline flapper style seatbelt. Isn't that exciting, John?
Yes, that is, Jay. That's very exciting. But I find seatbelts difficult to use. The buckles are confusing, and I'm embarrassed to say that sometimes I'll just tie them in a knot.
Don't worry, John. Don't worry, folks. How about I show you how easy our seatbelts are to use? Both our seatbelt types are 4-point harnesses with a lap belt and a belt over each shoulder. I'll show you the buckle seatbelt first. The round buckle has two pieces of metal, a blue metal portion and a silver portion. The strap ends have little metal hooks that catch in between the metal plates. The round buckle has a lever with 3 positions. The Don position allows insertion of the strap ends. The lock position locks them in place. And the release position lets everything fall out. The airline seatbelts are very easy. Line up the 2 shoulder strap ends, slip them over the flat male end, and slide all of that into the buckle until it clicks. To release, simply lift the flapper and they'll fall out. To tighten or loosen your seatbelt, it's very easy. Reach back at the attachment points of the seatbelt, find the free end, and pull the excess until it gets tight. It's the same on your shoulder belt. Find the excess strap sticking out of the adjuster, pull on it to tighten. To loosen, tilt up on the adjuster and pull excess strap out. Do not adjust the shoulder belt attachment points. There must always be a minimum of 2 inches of excess strap sticking out of the buckle. When you do up your seatbelt, either type, make sure you do up the lap belt first. Make sure it's nice and tight and low on your waist. Once that's secure, then do up the shoulder belts and make sure they're snug. This will provide you the proper fit and keep you secure in the event of a crash. John, I knew this pilot that he had his seatbelt very loose and he was in a helicopter crash and he had the seatbelt over his belly, and the seatbelt during the crash cut his belly and his intestines, and he had to wear a colostomy bag. So if you want to wear a colostomy bag, then by all means wear your seatbelt up high.
Well, that's great, Jay, but how much do they cost?
John, what if I told you they were $100 each?
Well, that's great, Jay, but I think you can do better than that.
What if I said 4 easy payments of $25 each?
Jay, I think you can do better than that.
Okay, let me think about it. How about I make them free and they save your life?
Okay, that's great, Jay. Thank you. All right, folks, call in. The number's on your screen right now in front of you. Operators are standing by.
There's a good chance that one of you will have an opportunity to fly as a passenger in the front beside the pilot. There's a few things you need to know up here. The seat belts operate exactly the same as the ones in the back, but they tighten slightly different. In the back, you pull from the attachment point. Up front, you pull from the buckle. You have to understand that the controls that are beside your seat will also move when the pilot is flying the aircraft. So the collective that's beside your seat will move up and down. The cyclic between your legs will move, and as well the pedals on the floor will be moving back and forth. So you need to keep your knees away from the cyclic. You need to keep your left leg free of the collective, which is going to be moving up and down. And you need to keep your feet flat on the floor, away from the pedals. Now it's likely for your flight, we will strap you in the aircraft, close your door, start up the helicopter, go for the flight, come back from the flight, shut down, open your door, and unstrap you and let you out. But it's still important that you know how the door operates. So, the door handle is very easy on the outside. Closed, open. All you do is pull the door handle down, swing it open. It has a locking device in the front. To release the locking device, lift up on the tab It releases the door from its locked position. Swing the door down. Make sure it's fully closed and move the door handle into the closed position. It's the same on the inside. The door handle on the inside operates normally, as it does on the outside, but if it's jammed or the door frame is deformed after a crash or hard landing, there is another way to get the door released. If you pull on this red wire ring here, it will release the hinges, and if you give a check or a push on the door will fall right out of the frame. For egress, first try the door handle, and if the door handle doesn't work, then try the emergency release. Now with your communications, feel free to talk, but if the pilot gives you a wave off and says stop talking, it means he's busy talking to air traffic control. For the panel, it looks confusing, but all you need to know is this is your volume for hearing the pilot. This is your volume for hearing the air traffic control or the tower or other aircraft. Don't touch this one. Don't press this one, or you'll be talking to other aircraft or air traffic control. And that's it. Enjoy the beautiful view up here and have a good flight.
I want to sit in the window seat.
I'm afraid you'll have to sit in the seat that you've been assigned. Every aircraft has center of gravity limits, fore and aft, left and right. Flying outside of those limits can affect our handling qualities. This helicopter actually has a very narrow center of gravity envelope. So please sit in the seat that you've been assigned.
All right, now everybody, get in crash position.
The call to assume brace positions at stars is either brace, 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 or brace for impact. The positions are all very similar, but just one slight different depending on where you're sitting in the aircraft. I'll point them out. The basic position, feet flat on the floor. Do not put your feet underneath the seat in case the seat crushes during the impact. Spine straight. Keep your spine straight as much as possible to avoid spinal injuries. Your head back against your headrest. And for aft facing seats, to avoid flail injuries, your arms flying around the cabin during the crash and punching somebody or breaking your arm, you can either sit on your hands with your palms up. Do not sit palms down, or you might break your wrist during the impact. Or the alternative, you can grab your your shoulder straps across on each side and wrap your hands around the shoulder straps during the crash. The brace positions in first class or the cockpit are the same as the brace positions on the bench or the side-facing seats. Very similar, it's just for the flail position. Everything else is the same. So again, feet are flat on the floor, not underneath the seat. Spine again is straight, head back against the headrest, and of course visor down in all cases. And then in the cockpit or on the bench, you do not want to grip your shoulder straps. The weight of your arms gripping the shoulder straps might pull yourself forward with the inertial wheel harness, and so you don't want to have them grip those. You have two choices. You can either put your hands flat on your thighs, or again, you can sit on your hands, palms up, to trap your hands. Up in the cockpit, there's also a lock for your inertial reel. Down on the side of your seat, if you push down on the lock, it'll lock your inertial reel and prevent you from moving forward during the crash. Thanks, Ian. Ian and I are going to explain the importance of securing the aft cabin during operations. Hey, you chipped my favorite mug.
Yeah, don't worry about it. I just dropped it in the urinal. We know you're busy dealing with the patient, but for your safety, we want to ensure that your seatbelts are fastened and that all medical equipment is secure for all critical phases of flight.
And by critical phases of flight, Ian means whenever he's flying.
Yeah, very unfunny, Jay. No, I mean when we're hovering near obstacles or taking off or landing.
Yes, it's critical because we're near hard, sharp things that might actually hurt us.
If we're flying up in the sky by the soft, fluffy clouds, then certainly you can unstrap and work freely on the patient.
Exactly. Another thing you're probably aware of is mass times acceleration equals force. That's a formula I created. It's now the second most famous of all the physics formulas. Basically, in layman's terms, it means that if you multiply the weight of a piece of medical equipment by the speed at which it's decelerating against your face, then you derive the true weight of it.
Yeah, well said, Jay. Selena Ann is now going to help us with a demonstration. So Selena Ann's stethoscope weighs about a half pound, but if Jay accelerates it and it stops against her face with 16 gravities, its weight is multiplied to 8 pounds when it hits her face.
Now imagine what will happen with this oxygen tank. Where'd she go? Oh well. So you can see why you should have a secure cabin. If we do crash, that light piece of unsecured equipment could become a missile. As well, your hard, pointy body, if it's unsecured, could also become a missile for other people in the cabin.
Yeah, when we're about to land, we check that the cabin is secure. We know you're busy in the back, but sometimes it's difficult for us to tell if it's secure.
Exactly. Usually you guys are having medical conversations. You're talking about your flamamazine and how much sucks to be you-azine you gave to the patient. And so we're not sure when we ask you if it's secure, if you're replying yes to the flamamazine or to the secure.
So right, Jay, so please, in the future, please reply with a cabin is secure.
Ian, this is really tasty. What kind of coffee is it?
Yeah, it's Scotch.
Oh, okay. In the event of an aircraft emergency, you will be required to egress, which is a fancy word for get out of, the aircraft. We have two types of egress. We have a ground egress and an underwater egress. The underwater egress will be covered in a later segment. We do not have air egress because we don't want you getting out of an aircraft in flight. Ground egress may occur on the ground before takeoff or even after an emergency landing. The pilots might want you to egress just for a precautionary measure, the potential for a fire, or they may want to be dealing with emergency and they don't want to worry about you being in the back. Some reasons for an egress could be medical equipment starting a cabin fire, an aircraft electrical fire, or even an engine compartment fire. Many doctors agree that it's a good idea to egress an aircraft on fire.
Hi, I'm a doctor, and I agree.
Wait for the pilot's command to egress, and it may include a direction to egress. It may sound something like, egress, 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 we have a fire, egress at the number 2 side. That is your command to egress. First, release your harness. Open the crew door, either by using the handle or the emergency release up top. And then stop.
Hammer time!
Check that your exit is safe. Make sure there's no aircraft fuel on fire. The rotor blades aren't going to hit you as you egress the aircraft, and it's safe for you to get away from the aircraft. Then egress the aircraft if it's safe. Grab the survival kit if required, and the fire extinguisher. If it's required and you're able, then assist your fellow crew members who require assistance getting out of the aircraft. Remember, the STARS vest and jacket comes with a handle on the back for dragging your crew members to safety. If you need to remove the patient from the aircraft, undo the harness, remove the patient pack from the stretcher, grab the patient pack, and haul the patient out of the aircraft. Pretty straightforward.
Coming this summer, a story of a talented, caring, professional paramedic who becomes careless and apathetic to safety. He scoffed, laughed, and ignored helicopter safety briefings. But if the helicopter was on its side, would he remember to use the bench and seat supports like a ladder to escape the helicopter? Would he remember? Coming this summer from the award-winning director of Eat, Pray, Love and Iron Man 3 comes 90 Degrees of Confusion. After the crash, will our confused paramedic remember what to do? Will he remember to use the seat supports as a ladder? Will he? Will he survive? Find out this summer in 90 Degrees of Confusion. Starring John Ernst.
Where's the pineapple?
Also starring Arnold Schwarzenegger as Hans Schlechtekinder, the base director who really cared about dispatch times.
Run!
Get to the chopper! 90 degrees of confusion.
To don the helmet, grip the chin strap rings and gently spread the ear cups. Place your forehead in the helmet and roll the helmet on your head. Secure the chin strap by passing it through the ring and close the snap. Tighten or loosen the chin strap on the other side. To release the chin strap, find the snap and pull directly away. Ensure the microphone is very close to your lips. The sensitivity range is designed to be very short. If it's an inch or more away, we won't be able to hear you. There are two visors on your helmet, a dark and a clear visor. To lower the dark visor, loosen the knob on the top right side of your helmet. The visor should drop. You can lock it in the down position or the up position by tightening the same knob. Remember, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. The clear visor is a little tricky. On the upper left side is a clip. Squeeze the clip and at the same time lower the visor. If you need to wear the headset, spread the ear cups and slip it on, with the pad centered on top of your head. Again, make sure the microphone is very close to your lips. On some headset models, there is an extra volume dial above the microphone arm. Follow the cord from your helmet or headset to its end and you'll find the plug. Fully plug your helmet into your seat's drop cord. All Stars helicopters are equipped with voice-activated intercom systems, so to speak to other passengers, just open your mouth. You won't be able to speak to the front of the helicopter as it is usually isolated. Your drop cord controller has a knob for volume and a sliding switch for transmitting on the radio. To transmit on the radio, slide the switch forward and holding it there, talk. When you're finished, release the switch. Launching on a mission may feel rushed and hectic. However, in almost all cases, there is time for a non-flying pilot or safety pilot to walk around the aircraft before departure. While the flying pilot is entering the destination, the non-flying pilot should walk around the aircraft. The non-flying pilot should check that latches are closed and the fuel cap is properly aligned and fully seated. At the rear of the aircraft, the safety pilot should check that the clamshell doors are properly latched. Continuing down the other side of the aircraft, the safety pilot should check panel latches and door security as well. After loading the AMCs, the safety pilot should close their door for them to ensure it's properly latched and to assist them as the door handle is difficult and awkward for them to access. By following this routine on each departure, the aircraft and the crew can safely depart without delays, lining to secure doors, latches, or fuel caps. When landing at scene calls, the helicopter will often be landed perpendicular to the road. This affords the flying pilot a view in both directions, and with the slope of the road, raises the tail rotor even higher. For all landings, do not exit or open doors until the safety pilot gives direction to do so. The safety pilot should give clearance to exit, a direction to the scene or the ambulance, and a reminder of what frequency your handheld radio should be set to.
Okay, we're down at the scene, guys. It's off to the right-hand side. You're clear to step out when I come by the number 1 door and change your radios over to simplex.
Normally our handhelds are set to a duplex frequency. Duplex allows us to use the repeater and extend the limited range of our handheld radios. In duplex, our radios transmit to the repeater on one frequency and receive on a different frequency from the repeater. If away from a repeater, we can set our radios to simplex. On simplex, our radios transmit and receive on the same frequency, but usually only for a limited distance. If there is a ride-along, the AMC should give direction to the ride-along on how to safely join the crew, either by clearing the rotor to the scene, or waiting beside the aircraft and joining the crew.
Ride along, you can step out the number 2 side door and just wait beside the helicopter until we pass.
During unloading and loading, the safety pilot will be positioned by the horizontal stabilizer to keep crew members away from the tail rotor and safe. Once the AMCs have departed the helicopter, the safety pilot ensures that vehicles and personnel do not approach the helicopter. If personnel or vehicles need to pass the helicopter, they should be escorted around the front of the helicopter. If law enforcement personnel need to fly in the aircraft for continuity of evidence, contact the pilots as soon as possible so they can determine if the law enforcement personnel can be flown in the aircraft for weight, and the law enforcement personnel should be sent to the helicopter as soon as possible to be briefed by the safety pilot. When returning to the helicopter, the ride-along should return directly to the cabin and not assist in the loading of the patient. Loading is completed in the reverse order of the unload. However, if the ground is slippery in the wintertime, the paramedic may indicate that they want assistance in loading the patient. The safety pilot can assist by pushing on their lower back and bracing their feet. After loading, again, the safety pilot checks latches and door handles as he/she walks around the aircraft. And lastly, without hurting the paramedic's knee or hand, the safety pilot should close their door for them and then strap in.
During operations with stars, we may need to be picked up either day or night to assist us on a mission. There is some risk involved with loading and unloading from a running helicopter, but this risk can be removed if everyone involved follows a standardized procedure. By following a standard procedure, each member of our team knows what is expected and can concentrate on performing their own actions safely. The helicopter will arrive at your helipad. Please remain off the helipad and do not approach the helicopter. Even though the helicopter may have landed and appears safe, it might also suddenly lift back into the air without warning to reposition. When it's safe, an air medical crew member will leave the aircraft to come and meet you at the edge of the pad with your helmet. Please don your helmet, do up your chin strap, and lower one of your visors before approaching the aircraft. This will provide you with ear and eye protection. For the flight, you will likely be sitting in the number 2 seat. To embark the aircraft, there are 2 routes you can take. Walk directly to the closest cabin door and sit in your seat or cross the cabin inside to your seat. Or, secondly, you can walk directly to the nose of the aircraft and remaining close to the body of the aircraft, walk around the nose to your door. While walking past the cockpit, be sure to give the pilots a wave. The little people often get excited when they learn they're transporting such an important and learned passenger. Once inside the cabin and the AMCs are confident that you are secure, physician refreshments will be served. During this time, the pilots might open and reclose your door from the front to extinguish a door warning light. Please don't try to assist nor interfere. This is a mundane task which is beneath your station anyway. Let the little people do it. For unloading at the scene or at a hospital, it's the same but in reverse. After receiving clearance from the safety pilot, either cross the cabin or go around the nose to the side of the aircraft closest to the scene or hospital. Either wait for and join the crew or head directly into the hospital.
First off, I'll show you the ELT, or emergency locator transmitter, located behind the sticker. Okay, on the top of the ELT, there's a switch with 3 positions. It says test or reset, armed in the center, and then on all the way to the outside of the aircraft. When turned on, or when it senses a sudden deceleration, the emergency locator transmitter sends out a 15-hex ID code signal to the geostationary satellites, which, when decoded, includes the aircraft identification and the operator contact information. The satellites calculate the direction of the signal and determine the location. As well, we have our SkyTrack system, which plots our aircraft location every minute. So, if we were to make an emergency landing or crash, the Emergency Link Center can see our location and dispatch assistance. Next, we have the electrical power switches. When turned off, these will cut all electrical power to the aircraft. After a crash, the rotor blades may be missing, the aircraft may be on its side, but the engines might still be running. To cut off the fuel going to the engines, turn off these guarded switches. They are wired closed, so simply lift the red covers and the wire will break. Then move the switches underneath to off, and the engines will be starved of fuel and shut down. Same as the fuel valves, activating the fire extinguisher system starves the engines of fuel. Simply lift these switches into the arm position. If you want to activate the fire extinguisher bottles, then move the fire bottle switch to number 1 and then to number 2. To stop the flow of oxygen, push this T-handle down. We have 2 halon fire extinguishers in the aircraft, one in the cockpit by the pilot's seat and one in the cabin under the nurse's seat. There are 2 orange tube survival kits located under the number 1 and number 2 seats in the aircraft. There's also a flashlight located under the right-hand pilot seat.
There is an easy-to-grab survival kit located underneath the number 1 seat. So you can just grab the handle as you egress and it slides right out and you're ready to go. Wait a second. There's also a second survival kit located over here underneath the number 2 side. But this one comes with a bag attached which has mitts and toques for the entire crew. These kits provide you with the essentials for building a fire, building a shelter, and visually signaling distress. And don't forget Purify water. There's also 2 parkas and 2 bivouac sacks located in the cockpit that'll help you stay warm. Good point. Remember, the contents of these 2 kits are different, so make sure you grab them both. The contents are listed on the back of the inspection tag and also in the company operations manual. Now, these kits should only be needed for a short time, as the next STARS base will drop what it's doing, get in the helicopter and come and get you. So you might be out for a few hours, or worst case, overnight. Now, there is no food in these kits, so if you are out overnight, you should consider eating the air medical crew. Jay, you're freaking hilarious! Yes, I am.
Right, guacamole.
Hey, co-pilot. Sorry, man. There's more bird poop on windshield. Gotta clean it first.
It's the 3rd time today I'm eating my lunch.
Sorry, babe. It's your job, buddy. Some people are confused about the term pilot in command. If there is one pilot, then obviously that pilot is in command. At STARS, we always fly with 2 pilots. If one pilot is a co-pilot and the other is a captain, then obviously that one is the pilot in command. However, if you have 2 captains flying together, one has to be designated as the pilot in command. Oh, guacamole! Oh, gross. Oh. Oh. Mm. So, what is pilot in command authority? In Canada, the pilot in command's authority comes from the Canadian Aviation Regulations and the Criminal Code of Canada. The pilot in command is responsible for the safe completion of the flight, the safety of all personnel and passengers both in and within the vicinity of the aircraft at all times. Crew members and passengers are obligated to comply with the captain's instructions. The PIC has the authority to make command decisions regarding a flight or mission if he is concerned that the safety will be compromised. This is the same authority as in the United States. However, in Canada, the PIC also has the power of a peace officer during the flight from the time the doors are closed to the completion of that flight. Wait a second, Graham.
What's up?
It's Captain, by the way. What's up, Captain?
What's up, Captain?
Let me try something.
What are you doing? Oh, no.
Yeah, I think it's snow goose.
No.
Yeah, go ahead, you can clean it.
Hello, the STARS legal department has asked that...
Right here.
Right here, okay. The STARS legal department has directed...
And initial right here.
Initial here. STARS legal department has directed that I read a statement. Oh, come on, this isn't even applicable. We're an air ambulance company.
Sir, please read the statement.
Okay. No smoking in or around STARS helicopters. No use of portable electronic devices in STARS aircraft. And no wearing of personal headsets for personal entertainment systems. What's this? An invoice? No way! If during the flight you're concerned about something or wish to refresh your memory, we do have a cabin safety features card. Just like on the airlines, it has simple pictograms indicating how to do up your seatbelt, how to egress the aircraft, where safety equipment is, and danger zones on the aircraft. For the pilots, it's located up front in the left lower console pocket. Right there. For the air medical crew, it's located in the upper cabinetry, the furthest one forward, closest to the paramedic. So remember, from any seat in the aircraft, you have access to a safety features card. Unfortunately, the job isn't done until the paperwork is finished. So for annual requalifications for specialty teams and doctors, we're going to need you to fill out your annual paperwork. And then we're going to also have to weigh you with your operations gear, your helmet, your jacket, and your flight suit. Thanks. If you didn't understand something or would like a further detailed explanation, please don't hesitate to talk to the air medical crew, and I'm sure they will immediately tell you to go talk to a pilot. And us pilots, we love to talk, so we'll tell you everything about the helicopter. Enjoy your flight, have fun.
Caution. A flight with STARS may cause feelings of happiness, excitement, and charity. You may experience a sudden urge to help your fellow man.